at the station. Again, 402-464-5685. Also want to let you guys know you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. All of those. We will be live all show long throughout the remainder of the day. And if you head over to YouTube, we have something on the line. If we can get to 1,200 subscribers by the end of the day, our very own Aaron Davis, he's going to be doing something over in Jamaica. We're not entirely sure yet. I know Rico and Nick were trying to bully him and pressure him into doing some things. And his deal was we have to get to 1,200 subscribers in order to do so. So go over to YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and help us out over that way. Again, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Haven text line. We want to hear from you. And joining me today is the Derek Pearson. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I am kind of pumped on this. Is going to be a long day, but I'm gigged for this because that parasailing thing in Jamaica.
Is that what he said it was?
Parasailing,
okay.
which is weird because like I'm afraid of heights. I've said that
really?
Like 1,000 times. But I'm afraid of heights. But I was able to parasail off the beach, and I wasn't bothered by it. So it's really weird. Like if you asked me to parasail off a cliff, I would say no. Okay. But for some reason off the beach, it was okay. And we did the full, 30-minute, boat ride with me above the city. And I'm really good with that. So I would tell AD, as a matter of fact, I probably should text him to tell him, go ahead and do it, man.
So is he afraid of heights? Is that the thing?
I would imagine that's it.
Is that what it is?
I would imagine that's it.
Clarify for us.
He just kept saying, I've seen Jurassic Park. I'm not doing it.
So he's scared of it then.
He said they went up into the clouds and they never came down.
Rico, do you know if we're close to 1,200 subscribers? Because that was the deal,
well,
right?
The deal was at the end of their show. Unfortunately, it wasn't at the end of the day.
I thought it was the end of the day.
No, it was at the end of their show. We went from 1.08 to 1.14 right before their show ended. So we were close. We got a whole bunch, but we didn't quite get there.
Well, that's all right.
Well, I would text him, first of all, science. Like it requires different things for him to just go up there and never come back. But the other side of it is it is a vantage of the city that you're never going to see any other way yourself. So
he's also scared of the ocean. And somebody texted in, didn't help, said that they went parasailing once, and when they landed, they dropped them in the water, like when they slowed down and they fell down into the water, landed in a school of jellyfish.
Yeah, that would not do it.
I would be slightly upset.
That would not help. No, the thing with the landing is you have to perfectly time your strides and how quick fast your legs are moving. Because
if they land you on solid ground or
on
sand.
solid ground, that's the whole mission. They're not supposed to land you in the water.
Well, then this guy got a bad
rap. Right. Because if you land in the water, then you have to detach.
Yeah.
And stop them from pulling you with this big, huge parachute on your back. So for me, it was trying to get the run, and there's different degrees of softness to the sand. So the further out you go, the more sandy it is, right? But if you hit where it's wet, that foot can like stick, and then it's a whole other thing. But it was pretty cool.
I told him, I said, there's a lot of things I would. Then we got into whole like diving with sharks and getting in shark cages and all that. And
No,
I'm down for all of that. The one thing I will not do. The one thing I will not do is bungee jumping. Don't know why. That's just the one thing.
No, I'm on the. I think that
I'll skydive, I'll parasail, I'll get in cages with sharks, I'll scuba dive in a coral reef. Like I'll do all that. But you asked me to bungee jump, that's a hard no.
That whole. I mean, because the bungee thing, there's no control. You're tethered, but there is a lack of control factor.
And I guess my thing is when you're skydiving, if my chute doesn't work and I hit the ground, it's over. But if I'm bungee jumping and the bungee doesn't work and I hit the ground, there's a chance I could still live and I'm going to be in a lot of pain.
Well, no, you're going to go through it.
Yeah.
Okay. I hit the rocks. I think my shoulder's broke.
Yep.
I just broke my leg.
Or if it's just like slightly bungee enough where like it kind of gets you to the ground and then it pulls you back up, like then we got a problem.
It's like the old Eddie Murphy routine. I'm falling down the stairs. Oh Lord. My shoe.
Oh no.
It's just there.
So yeah, but I'll do all that. No bungee jumping. I want to go into a cage with sharks. It looks like fun.
Maybe we can convince AD if we get 1,200 by the end of the day to go on a cage with sharks.
I think that would be
No,
awesome.
that one's
I think that's
not.
fair.
That one's not happening regardless. He's not doing that one.
So
That's
there's
fair.
The
no
parasailing, there's a
no
chance.
convincing. Well, all right. So.
From the text line, Christian in Lincoln says this. He goes, that song makes him want to change his prediction from 7-5 to 12-0.
Saw that.
That's pretty strong. How come you guys let Big Slim off the hook? Like Big Slim said, 15-0 or 7-5. That's not how it works. That's not how Big Slim do better, man. That is
maybe he's on to something. Maybe I don't know.
No, Willie. So I did once in Jamaica and then once in Aruba, and yeah, we landed on the beach. I landed on the beach, and it was
on the sand.
On the sand, and you just ran your way through
Interesting.
to finish. That land in the water biz. No, we took off from the water. Well, you take off from the beach and you get a running start, and then they just pull you through the boat speed. It pulls you up in the air, and you get elevated.
Were you wearing a life jacket then?
Yes,
just in case. Okay, so
yeah,
if you had to land in the water, you could.
Yeah, if you could, but again, that whole shark jellyfish thing lets me further know.
Yeah, maybe. Not, yeah.
I'm gonna miss the part where I can get eaten alive or stung to death.
That's just kind of how it goes. It's the risk you take. It's definitely the risk.
Are you a water guy? Are you a boat guy?
Oh yeah, love it.
Okay.
And I'm not afraid of heights at all. So it's something that I absolutely would do. I just never had the chance. But you mentioned Big Slim DP, and I want to bring up what he says on the text line, and we want to hear your guys' thoughts too. 402-464-5685. Call or text the Starter Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. Big Slim brings this up, and it makes me a little bit upset, but it is obviously a possibility. He says, I want to play devil's advocate for a second. What happens when we fall flat and they do to us what we did to them last year? And then he's obviously referencing the game Saturday. And as most Nebraska fans know, one of the 3 wins last year was a 56-7 win over Northwestern at home. This is obviously an extreme scenario, and Nebraska comes in as 13.5-point favorite. So this would be not only disastrous, but catastrophic to the point of probably no return. I think, unfortunately, if we reach this point, and I hate saying it because I've been wanting to defend Scott Frost and defend this program, I think if you suffer a loss like that, I think Scott Frost is probably done after week 1. Like, seriously.
No, I think so. A couple of things. One, recent history with this program, when they were highly favored over Illinois and laid an egg. And then you have your moment against Northwestern where everything breaks dominant the right way, right? Yeah. Like breaks. So if you want to identify this season, it's not being surprised by either expectation. Like we know, like no fan would be surprised if this team totally shocked, if this team put it together. But the fan base also wouldn't be surprised if they totally didn't.
I think Northwestern is the exception to that. There are a few teams that you can sprinkle in there, like the Illinois, Minnesotas. You can even throw Rutgers on the road for that matter. I would I've reached the point now, if Nebraska doesn't start out 3-0, I would be shocked. This is a bad Northwestern team.
Nothing about this team would surprise me because we don't know anything about it.
If they got beat 56-7 like that last year,
we don't know. Here's the reality. Anybody says they know what's going to happen this year.
Oh, no, you don't.
You don't know how you feel about it.
Right.
Look, you're entitled to feel how you feel. If you feel good about it, do so. Do it out loud, man. Go for it. And it's also okay to have your doubts because we've been Charlie Brown for 4 years of expecting Scott Frost to hold the ball so we can kick it. And we've bought in and we've allowed it, and we end up, heels over head because we believed it. No, you got us again. Now, do you trust it enough based on changes made? Right?
That's the discussion.
Right? On changes made within the grown-ups in the room. We're not talking about the players because we don't know the players in this space.
Right.
We don't know. We don't even know what the starting lineup's going to be. There's literally nobody outside
the starting quarterback.
Well, the starting quarterback, but look, if they lined up with Gabe Ervin, some people wouldn't be surprised. Some would. If they lined up with Yant, some people would be surprised. Some wouldn't.
Right.
Like we can go. Is it Grant? Will we be surprised? Is it Johnson?
They're Ramir into that.
Like we don't know the receivers. We don't know. I went to the corner store and a listener came up and he was talking and he's like, yeah, so how much fun is it to talk about Saturday? And I said, it's great to talk about Saturday, but we don't know. Like talking about next Saturday will be much easier because we'll have some point of reference for what this beautiful or ugly,
but
chaotic thing is.
What's interesting to that point, DP, and me and Strick have talked about this, and I know Bach is an adamant of this stance. We'll have the first 3 games, but I think we can all agree those first 3 teams are not very good football teams. We don't know if Nebraska's a good football team,
we
but
don't,
will we know?
We
after
don't know.
3 weeks?
We don't know Georgia Southern. We don't know Northwestern. There's Saturday, and we don't know Northwestern.
But from what's to come, you can assume that this is going to be one of the easier stretches for Nebraska.
No, listen.
I think we can assume that.
No, you can't assume anything about this. That's why everybody's at angst. That's why everybody's excited, because the reality, the possibility is that you could be fantastic. You could be amazing. Like all the pieces could fall together, and you could end up in Indy. Or
absolutely, yeah.
Or it could be disappointing. And they're both, with this team and program, the same likelihood. Like you literally fall right in the middle because people are asking for, begging for 6 wins for you to fall right dead square in the middle. Now, if the expectation was 9 wins, that's a different, that moves the needle towards 9 wins in the expectation that 6 is where you are, and then if you do some things right and things go well, you get to 9.
You could have had 9 last year,
right? But
you easily could.
No, you couldn't. No,
I think
no.
Those
I'm not giving credit for stuff you almost did. Like, no, you did. Either you do or you don't.
Right, but I'm saying, but you're off of your scenario where you're saying that you could go 3-9, you could go 9-3 again.
Mm-hmm.
There was a scenario last year that a few things go a different way. They could have been 9-3.
A lot of things had to go a different way.
Towards the end of the game.
No.
I could point to 3 games, 3 plays during that season that Adrian Martinez made that would have moved them from 3-9 to 6.
Go for it.
I would move, or okay, I won't even throw.
Go for it.
I'll just throw the Michigan State, the punt return touchdown. Where
that's not Adrian. That's not Adrian.
Okay, well, I'll say just the team as a whole that would move him to 6-6 because I don't want to pick on Adrian here, but I will say that play right there, where you kick it to the wrong side, they didn't give up a first down in the second half of that game. That one play, I think that would have been.
That's so. Remember, I'm just off of UFC fight where the best fighter in the world did everything right for 24 minutes and 6 seconds of a fight that only was supposed to go 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. But you know what he did? He forgot something. Mm-hmm. He forgot to cover his chin.
And then
bam, it's out.
Yeah.
Now, the legacy, you can talk about, he's still a great fighter. It's a great team. But you know what? Don't do that.
Right.
Because it costs you a game.
Problem, right?
Is he less than or better? I love the fact that Nebraska fans want to see the best in it. Cool. Let's do it. But get better at everything so that one thing doesn't kill you. One thing killed them twice that we can really think of. The punt return, you still had other opportunities to get them off the field.
But I think that one play is what made them lose.
No. The one play changed the game, but it didn't decide the game.
A team didn't score after that.
No.
That was the last score.
No. Here's what happens. They had the ball. Nebraska had the ball twice after that.
They did.
And didn't do their job. You didn't do your job. You didn't do the things you were doing before. Mm-hmm. Right?
Defense did that.
Michigan, no. Listen, you don't score. You don't allow people. There it is. He caught it. 224 and change. There we go.
So we got it.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Here you go. Good enough.
We got there. See, this is what happens when we talk Nebraska football.
I know.
We get distracted and then we get frustrated.
Yeah.
Here's the only thing that I want to say. And I know you hate the close, fans hate the close, but I do think that there is something to be said that out of everything that happened last season, these players were still in a position to win, and there was a play or two in every game you can point to that would have changed the outcome of the game.
And the same can be said for the opponents who won the game. Even if they won the game, there were plays that could have extended the lead, could have made it a greater lead. Like
you're right. You're right.
Like the coaching rules at one play never dictates the game. That's just not how the process works when you're playing, over 100 plays. Like there's so many opportunities to do right. What I'll say is this: beat Northwestern. That's it. Like I don't care about the schedule behind it because it's important and necessary for the fan base, for the team, for the coaching staff, for the administration to beat Northwestern so that you can then proceed to worry about what's after that. Mm-hmm. But the focus and looking back doesn't help you. It doesn't help you because that team doesn't exist anymore. Those players aren't here. The coaching staff, a lot of guys who made important, vital decisions, they're not here, right? The way the work was being done, that doesn't exist anymore. You've got new coordinator, you've got a new passing game leader, you've got new running game guy, a new line guy, you got different guys up front defensively, you've got different guys, entirely group of different guys in secondary, you've got different the special team leadership is supposed to be different. You're supposed to have different specialists, better specialists along the way. And all of it is based on a thing that you told us last year, which was you were good enough last year. That's a lie. You weren't good enough last year, right? And all the things that were said, the things that were said in all the pressers wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough because we were told the line was good enough last year, right? We were told quarterback play was going to be good enough. We were told that the running game was good enough. We were told that the receiving game was going to be good enough. We were told that the secondary wouldn't get us in situation. We were told that we would be able to get pressure up front. We were told they'd be better at special teams. We were told all those things because we worked and it was perfect. It just didn't show up on Saturday. Well, guess what, Charlie Brown? I'm going to believe you Saturday night.
I agree.
Before that, I'm just a spectator.
But the one thing that did stay the same, and this is why I bring up last season, and why I'm saying I do have faith, the one thing that did stay the same, Scott Frost. Now, you can interpret that how you want to.
We go and interpret. We have
completely different spectrums. We have completely different spectrums.
We got to break because
we got to take a break.
Yeah. We'll write that.
We'll
put a pin in that.
It's one of my buy or sell questions. We'll get into buy or sell later on in the show.
Good deal.
That'll give us a good time to tease. Ernie Ziegler, Nebraska basketball assistant coach, he's going to join us next. We'll have shootout with DP. Trivia, give you guys $15 Buffalo Wings rings, and then we'll get into our buy or sell. That's where I've got a few that I think DP is going to like a lot. I think you guys are going to like a lot too. So make sure you stick with us. It's on the block. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Fall has arrived, and it's the perfect weather for the DIY market to listen to the game while building a deck. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smooth. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671 or go online at deckcityne.com.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, very happy Tuesday to all of you. You're listening to On the Block. My name is Nate Brennan. He is Derek Pearson. And as always, we want to hear from you guys. 402-464-5685. That's the Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can catch the entire show live. And if you head over to YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Our new goal, 1,200 subscribers. So make sure you guys help us out with that one. And we are very honored to be joined by assistant coach for Nebraska basketball. And Coach, the first question I got to ask you before we get into introductions and get into kind of the serious questions, we want to make sure we get your last name right. We've heard it Ziegler. How do we say your last name?
Well, hey, first, thanks for having me on, and it's Ziegler, like Zig Ziglar.
See, but that's
what we thought. Yeah.
Coach, this is what's fantastic. So Strick is traveling Europe. And I get the text that, hey, Ziegler's supposed to be on at 2:30 today, and I'm going, well, wait a minute, let me buckle up. We got grown man talk to have with Coach Ziegler. He's been through it. First of all, welcome to Lincoln, welcome to the University of Nebraska and this fan base that is hungry and thirsty for what you bring to the table, which is another grown, evolved, developed brain. Having another grown-up in this program to sit on that bench next to Coach Hoiberg. First, let's tell the folks the story. How does a kid from Detroit end up in Lincoln, Nebraska? What blessings? Who are the people that kind of got you here?
Well, man, that's all the grace of God, Derek, Nathan. I mean, it's just the grace of God, man. One thing in this business, everyone has a path, and the normal path is to be a GA and work your way up and just be a part of college basketball. And, it's a lot of different stories, but for me, being from Detroit and not coming the conventional route, I've just been very fortunate to be involved with a lot of different people, great people that have helped me along the way. And here I am, full-fledged in Lincoln, Nebraska, and ready to go, and with a great guy and Fred Hoiberg and great coach, and who's about to, do some special things here in Lincoln.
Our assistant coach, Ernie Ziegler, joining us right now. Coach, I got to ask you, it seems like you've coached at a lot of programs, even at the Power 5 level. What was just kind of the final moment that you knew that Nebraska was going to be your next home?
Wow. When the opening occurred, and the timing of it being in late July, and during in the recruiting period, that's when it just became so attractive to me, because I just felt like, hey, I'm still out here and have somewhat of my experience, having the opportunity to work with a coach who's, been a great NBA player, a very good NBA coach, and a very good college coach. And this opening and the timing of it, and the being in the Big Ten, one of the only Power Fives I haven't worked in other than ACC, and it just, all of it came together, and it's just about the timing and being around great people. So I'm just fortunate that Fred had this opportunity to bestow upon me, and I'm just going to be going full-fledged every day, trying to make sure Nebraska basketball is highly successful.
Coach, when you dive into the pool that is Nebraska basketball, and a lot of the history and what the fans talk about is the asterisk that sits by the program that says it's never won an NCAA tournament game. Now, you've been in the Final Four, you've been in program different places in the country. What's the common thread of teams that find a way to win in the tournament? Is that a talent thing? Is that a coaching thing? What is it? What's the bridge that Nebraska has to cross to make that happen?
Well, I think this situation reminds me of my tenure doing it at Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ben Howland took over at Pittsburgh, there was some tradition there in the mid to late '80s or what have you. And but we got there, and there was a whole lot of expectations. And when we were able to turn the corner and you get in the tournament, I think the combination of having a special guy leading the program,
Mm-hmm.
having talented, hungry guys that are trying to prove themselves in their league and aspire to play at the highest level, and having a chemistry amongst the coaching staff and the group to say, hey, it's our time to turn this corner. And I think, those are the ingredients to make that happen. And with the momentum that this group, the core of some of these guys that are returning had at the end of last season, and now this, having this summer together, I think all things are pointing towards hopefully getting our program off that snide of getting that first NCAA tournament win.
Assistant coach for Nebraska basketball, Ernie Ziegler, joining us right now. Coach, you look at the landscape of college sports, and the transfer portal is a big part of it now. What kind of history do you have with the transfer portal? And with that being said, do you think that's just kind of what college basketball is becoming and just what we need to adapt to?
Well, it's definitely what we need to adapt to. I mean, heck, I'm going to date myself. I remember when, in Detroit, it was a big thing if you had a pager in the early mid '80s or what have you. So we've adapted to cell phones. So we got to adapt to everyone having a cell phone, and now we got to adapt to everyone having guys in the transfer portal. And it's a part of each college program's existence. And but I do think there still has to be balance. High school guys, JUCO guys. You got to have a balance in your program, and so you can continue to have success year in, year out. But my experience thus far in the transfer portal, I mean, I've been able to, touch into a former Big Ten guy. Rocket Watts was a guy we signed at Mississippi State, and unfortunately for him, he suffered a hip injury that he had to have surgery on, and just couldn't quite get back to being the guy that we needed him to be. But I mean, there's going to be guys, and it's all about relationships. Everything in recruiting is about relationships, irregardless if you're tapping into the transfer portal, high school, and or junior college, or internationally as well. Actually, I would be remiss but not add internationally as well.
Coach, that's literally where I was headed. You mentioned this Husker summer. You've had a time to get to know the players, the returning guys, the newcomers. Give the fans a little bit of a scouting report on what the first things you notice about this roster here in Lincoln.
Well, I think the first thing that just jumps right out at you is the experience. And if you look at, even this last year and the teams that were in the Final Four, they're teams that are experienced, that are very senior laden, fifth year laden groups or juniors at the very least, with a little mixture of some youth in there. And then when you look at this roster, that's what it has. When you look at Derek Walker and and Sam Griesel and Emmanuel, all of a sudden you're looking at upperclassmen who have been through the wars. And now all of a sudden, when you look at the rest of the roster and guys finding their way in that process, with CJ Welcher and Casey and it's just a lot of pieces that will allow Coach Hoiberg, allow Fred to put us in the best position to take this next step in Big Ten play.
Coach Ernie Ziegler with Nebraska basketball joining us right now. Coach, you've coached all over the place in the Power Five and just throughout the country, but never in the Big Ten. Do you think it'll be an adjustment coaching in the Big Ten, or have you played enough teams to kind of understand how the dynamic's going to go?
No, I think, watching it from afar and growing up around it, and when I was coming up as a high school coach and AAU coach, Big Ten basketball has been known to be physical, and been had the opportunity as a coach to play against some Big Ten teams up close and personal. But I think, it's just about being able to execute and being able to be physical and tough, to finish games. And Big Ten, quite honestly, is one of the best conferences in the country. And so it's going to be fun, being rubbing elbows against teams that I even grew up watching as a fan, and now, being a coach and being a part of this conference.
Coach, it's fascinating. I was listening to and watching the pressers that introduced you, and your presence is a thing. And I understand how important it is to have grown men in the program. Every additional grown man provides additional boundary and strength for the program. But your enthusiasm about Nebraska as an athletic department, and you start talking about football. Let me ask you, what does it mean to you? What comes to mind when you think Nebraska athletics and Nebraska football?
Oh, man, those games against Miami, Florida, against the Hurricanes back in the 90s, late 80s and 90s, Tom Osborne and even as of recent times, when Ndamukong Suh, and I had a chance to meet him when I was an assistant at University of Detroit, and didn't realize he was a big basketball buff, and he would come over and play pickup with our guys, during training camp. Even though I think the Lions, were had crossed eyes at him when he was doing it, but
right.
But it's just, it's amazing how when you go through phases of your life and you bump into things, and the one thing about college sports is, you gravitate to the best. And Nebraska football was one of the best programs in the country, and has just such great tradition. And it's hard not to be to not notice it. And so it's really fun. I can't wait to go to my first game in Memorial Stadium and be a part of that atmosphere and see watch our football program have a heck of a season.
Nebraska basketball assistant coach Ernie Ziegler joining us right now. Coach, we know you're a busy man. I have one more question for you. I'm going to let DP ask the last question, but I don't want to get you in trouble, so I want to ask for a score prediction. But what do we think is going to happen on Saturday, and are you going to be tuned in for the game?
Yes, I'm going to be tuned in for the game, and the Huskers are going to win.
Simple bit.
Now, score-wise, I tell you this: we're going to score more than the Northwestern Wildcats.
Ooh, I like it.
That's all that's required.
That part.
That's all that's required. Coach, listen, it's appreciated. This is the first of many. I know there's a zero chance that we could ask you all the stuff we want to talk to you about, because I know you're a sports dude across the board. It's not just basketball. So we're going to bug you during football season to help you have you break down some football for us as well, because I know you're a sports dude, and this needs to be heard. So thank you for making time today, but I'll reach out because we got football stuff to talk about.
Looking forward to it, Derek. All right, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
Good.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you. It sounds I think Nebraska basketball, DP, it sounds like we're going to be in good hands.
Took a step up.
I think we're definitely going to be in good hands. Again, that was assistant coach for Nebraska basketball, Ernie Ziegler. We really appreciate him joining us today. We're definitely going to have him on many times for sure, because like DP said, he definitely knows his sports, especially Nebraska sports. So hopefully his prediction is right as well. And Nebraska will come out with a win on Saturday, but Shootout with DP is next. No Eric Strickland today, but we're still going to give out $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All you got to do is call 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline. We want to hear from you. You get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line. Shootout with DP. It'll come up next on the block. 937 The Ticket.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pine Lane. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order your Wingstop online at 28th and Superior, 50th and O Street, and 29th and Pine Lake.
Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me in just a moment is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. But before I bring Andy on, I need to tell you about something that really got my attention. Just the other day, I saw on television Andy announcing that in the last 50 years, they had sold and serviced close to 100,000 vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, actually, the number would be a lot higher if we add in how many repeat customers we have for service and that come back to buy cars from us over and over and over again.
Now, Andy, tell everybody about your special offer.
Well, as most people know, always trade for vehicles, but now we're offering for people to come in and sell us their cars. We're ready to buy, bring it on in, whether it's a year old or a few years old, and we'll pay them cash that same day. It'll be hassle-free, and we'll do it the Honda of Lincoln way.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of buying cars, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
It's time to kick off the Nebraska high school football season. Hey guys, it's Nick Sainert, and join me for a Thursday night matchup as the Lincoln East Spartans host the Kearney Bearcats at 7 p.m. Then Friday, join DP and myself for a doubleheader. We kick things off at 4:30 with Lincoln Southeast taking on Elkhorn South, and the nightcap featuring the Lincoln High Lynx and the Lincoln Southwest Silverhawks around 8 p.m. That's this Thursday and Friday on 93.7 The Ticket, your home for high school football.
High school football is sponsored by Southeast Community College, Members Owned Credit Union, Union Bank and Trust, Mosaic of Southeast Nebraska, Nebraska DOT Highway Safety Office, and Gaina Trucking.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Despite not having Eric Strickland today, we're still giving out $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All we need is a caller, 402-464-5685. That's the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We're going to play Shootout with DP. Game show we play every single weekday around this time. 4 questions, either or. Then a money ball for 2 points. 6 points in total. All you got to do is score more than who you're facing off against, and you will get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Call now.
I'm in a generous mood.
5685.
I'm feeling gifted.
Do you play for the people? Strict plays for the people.
Yeah, you play for the people.
Play for the people.
Yeah, I'm feeling gifty.
Have you played the Shootout before?
No.
All right. So this is your debut playing Shootout with DP.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll see how that ends up going. Again, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline. We want to hear from you. The category today, DP, is NFL Power Rankings. So ESPN updated their power rankings today.
Okay.
So we're going to go through the teams. And again, I'll go ahead and explain the game show for you since this is your first time playing. So we have 4 questions. I'm going to give you either or. And then we're going to have a fifth question, which is a money ball. That one's worth 2 points, but it's not going to be either or. You're just going to have to come up with that one on the fly. And if it comes down to it, we will have a tiebreaker. So that one's going to be giving you the opportunity to go over or under. Again, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline. Still looking for someone to call in. Shootout with DP, his debut. Don't leave him hanging. Come on, guys. We need a caller. Need someone.
Oh no, I'll go against Rico. Just
there we go. No, we don't need Rico getting an inflated ego. That's for sure.
Oh, let Rico live. Let Rico live his best.
We can't
life.
let him get an inflated ego. That's right.
Too late.
Yeah, I don't know if we really have much of there. We will go ahead and head to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, where we have Austin. Austin, how do you feel about NFL power rankings? Have been following the offseason moves?
I'm pretty good at NFL roster knowledge, so I should be all right.
All right. Well, I like the confidence. You know how this goes. We're going to have you stay on the line. We need to get DP's score first, so you know how many you have to get. And DP, are you ready for your debut?
Let's get it.
DP.
Let's get it.
We will go ahead and start in 3, 2, and 1. This AFC team comes in at number 1. The Bills or the Bengals?
Bills.
That is correct. This NFC team just got their all-pro tackle back yesterday. The Cowboys or the Packers?
Packers.
That is correct. This team is 11 despite being the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. The Chiefs or the Titans?
Chiefs.
It was actually the Titans. This team is relying on this oft-injured lefty at 19. The Dolphins or Cardinals?
Dolphins.
That is correct. And your Moneyball question, this team is number 3 despite winning the NFC last year.
Niners.
4, 3, 2, 1.
As the buzzer goes off, it was the Rams.
Rams. I went blank.
Rams.
Sorry. I went blank.
I know.
I won't need it. I won't need it.
I
won't need it.
All right, Austin. We got a little trash talk here. How are you feeling? DP's finished with 3 points.
Yeah, he did pretty well. I'll have to do well myself.
All right, Austin. We will see how you play. Are you ready to go?
Yep.
All right. We will start in 3, 2, and 1. After this, vet unretires. They come in at number 2. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
That is correct. This NFC team rounds out the top 10 after winning the division. The Cowboys or the Eagles?
Cowboys.
That is correct. This AFC team is getting buzz after a big receiver addition. The Raiders or the Chargers?
Raiders.
That is correct. And after losing this veteran quarterback, they come in at 24. Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson?
10.
Russell Wilson.
And for your money ball, after blowing a 28-3 Super Bowl lead, they now find themselves last in the power rankings.
Falcons.
2, 1.
I will tell you what, Austin, that was pretty impressive.
Play for the
and
people.
you deserve this one. Flawless victory.
Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and give you this one.
Get a hell yeah. He gets a hell yeah.
There you go. Austin, we will always give you the option. You can either take the high road or you can talk trash to DP if you want to. That's up to you.
I knew I had it the whole time, DP. I was never worried.
All right, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. Well done. Well done. Perfect. When you're flawless, act flawless, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Congratulations, Austin. Go ahead and stay on the line. Rico's going to get you on the other end to make sure that you get your prize. Again, $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. DP, for what it's worth, the tiebreaker I have today. Baker Mayfield was recently named the starter in Carolina. How many touchdowns has he thrown in his career?
66.
That would be an interesting answer because we usually do over-under on this one, and it would be interesting to see what Austin would say. It's 92, so still short of 100.
3 years. 3 years.
3 years. So comes in at 92 because I was kind of surprised by that to hear that he's at 92 because the Browns were very quick to get rid of him, almost without zero hesitation. So.
I don't understand. I still don't understand it.
I don't either.
He made you a playoff team. Yes, there's talent around you. A little envy within the space because everything was Baker, but that's not his fault. Like charisma is not for everybody. Not everybody can have that it factor, and they've got some folks on that team that wanted to be seen and heard as well. But look, quarterbacks get the shine, and he has a little extra in the charisma department.
Least,
so
right?
so I don't understand, especially to make the move towards Deshaun. I didn't understand it. I just didn't understand it.
What I don't understand, and a lot of people are forgetting because the Browns recently have had a little bit of success. They've won a playoff game. Before Baker Mayfield got there, the Browns were basically the laughing stock of the NFL. Like, they were the worst run franchise in the NFL. Baker Mayfield comes in, they win a playoff game. That's what's bizarre to me.
Well, he made them relevant, and it won in a tough division. I mean, think about the Steelers being who the Steelers are, the Bengals being the upstart.
The Ravens with Lamar, too.
Well, that's, again, it's hard to be relevant, and he made them competitive and relevant.
Right.
So I didn't understand it, but I also, as I look towards him in Carolina, my only thing in Carolina is that I wish they had gotten him another thumper, like another thumper, guy that he can just take the burden off. Look, Charlotte's going to love him. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Charlotte's going to love Baker.
I agree.
I think the fans are going to love him because he's going to do the basic thing. You know, we talk about layup Baker and look,
check down Baker.
Well, but I'm fine with that,
right?
Because that's a sign of a real. I mean, look, we don't criticize Aaron Rodgers for check down. That's you would talk about check down king. That's the check down king. But they all are. Brady. Well, Brady holds the ball less than any quarterback in the NFL. The ball's out of his hands in quickest amount of time, and he throws the shortest passes in the entire NFL. So I don't look at that as a slight. I think Charlotte's a great opportunity for him. I'm looking forward to. I wish they got him another receiver, another thumper.
I agree,
but that's okay too, because I think he's going to do the things in that division, which is he'll steal a couple of first downs and extend drives with his feet. He'll make one throw in a game that makes you say, wow. And then you also accept that he's going to make one that you scratch your head.
Right.
But I'm okay with that in Carolina.
I think Thompson Lincoln might be a little bit biased. If I remember correctly, he's a Panthers fan.
Huge.
Baker to the promised land with Carolina. I don't know about that one. I'll ask you this, DP.
Ooh, that's a great question.
On the Browns, do you think any Browns fan that finds it okay to buy a Watson jersey and where is it, has definitely sexually assaulted someone in their life and thinks they did nothing wrong? That might be a bit extreme.
Yeah, well, that gets in a different space, right? The league, I'm real kind of, I try to stay away from that with jerseys.
Right.
Anyway. But if that's the case, there won't be many jerseys worn. Period.
I would be surprised to see many Deshaun Watson.
Well, I mean, folks don't have issue with Ray Lewis. So you can go up and down the list of players in any sport, David. You can go up and down the list. So people make their choice. Browns fans have a lot of jerseys over the years. Like there's still, to me, there's only one Brown jersey that you can wear. And, well, actually, even that one comes with some caveat. So pick your jersey as well is what I would say.
I would say so. And
what jersey do you wear in Cleveland? That is that is spotless clean.
Jake Delhomme.
Well, he was a Panther.
Well, you more think of him as the Panthers, yeah.
That is spotless. There are very few spotless players as humans. So even Jim Brown, the GOAT, you still have some issue with off-field stuff. So yeah, just this is why I'm cool with the nameless jersey. I'm cool with it.
And this is the thing, too, is Thompson Lincoln says a Baker Mayfield old jersey. Hey, maybe get a throwback Baker Mayfield. We'll see about that. But Ray says between picking up Hunt and Watson, definitely not a great look for the Browns. That's a little bit to it, too, is the Browns have some history of not worrying about characters much. And
that's the NFL.
If you're good at
that's the NFL.
Football,
that's the NBA. That's NHL. We've all got it.
Right. I will say, though, I feel for Baker Mayfield. I think that he gave us all to that city. I think that his shoulder has serious issues now, and it's probably never going to be the same because he laid it all out in the line for that city, and look where it got him. Now he ends up being with the Panthers. So we'll see how that works out. But, hey, he's got a fresh start. He's officially named the starter. Sam Darnold is the backup. Looks like he'll probably be there for the remainder of his career if I had to take a wild guess. But we'll see. So that'll do it for the first hour. We have buy or sell coming up next. Got some really good questions, and we want you guys to chime in on it, too. 402-464-5685. Buy or sell, all Husker football related, so it'll be fun. And we'll have Brian Munson on, too, to get his thoughts about the game in Ireland this Saturday. Make sure you stick with us. Listen to On the Block, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is On the Block with Strick and Nate. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
And Hokie Homer turned Husker, Nathan Brennan.
Everyone knows that I'm the smartest person here.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Nate.
We're going to have to let this play out a little bit. Soak it in. If you're on your way home from work, just soak it in.
And now,
soak it in. The pipeline.
man, I'm sorry. I can't give that to. I'm old. That's the Bulls.
I knew you were going to say that.
I no.
Huskers fans, though, they love it.
6'6" at guard
Right.
from North Carolina. Look, man, I saw the running of the bull with this thing. I can't. Too many great moments.
Speaking of, I was too young. I didn't know Michael Jordan as much. We'll go ahead and let that play. That should get you ready for game day. I'll say that much. We are ready to go here at the ticket. The one thing about that documentary, the Last Dance, they showed that intro when it was at peak Bulls. Oh my gosh, chills.
Oh.
That was legit.
Because when you saw
legit.
it, the entire country, the entire world saw it at its apex. Like at its apex, and the bull running through the city, right? Different ports. The announcement, I mean, the rest of the lineup, even in the Rodman Pippen years, was fantastic. But Jordan, like, come on. And that was against every other great franchise in the NBA. You got in your feelings when that first note hit. Like look, the Knicks were like, oh, here we go. Sonics, Cleveland Cavs,
my Pacers,
Utah Jazz, like Reggie Miller would try to find something else, and there was nothing else that would compare to that.
I'm curious, and I'm going to need the text line to help me out with this. Was there an overlap between the tunnel? Because that would have been around the time of Nebraska, the peak of their powers, and the peak of the Bulls' powers. Did it overlap?
No, stop that.
When did the tunnel walk start?
Stop that.
When did the tunnel walk
stop
start?
that.
I'm curious.
I don't know, but listen. Outside of Lincoln, that is the Chicago Bulls theme song. I hate that.
They were around the same time. Nebraska's peak and the Bulls' peak.
Knew I never tied it to the tunnel walk until later. But that's kind of where that thing ends. I mean, Jordan had a run before that.
Axel says they're around the exact same time period. Ed says 94. Breezy says 96.
I get that. I get that it started around 10, but guess what? People didn't see the tunnel walk the way they saw Jordan.
True.
The number of times.
True.
Right? You can just talk about playoff runs. People saw it more in 1 year of a playoff run for the Chicago Bulls than they did the entire run of Tunnel Walk. So
Right. Now, and I will say, DP, be careful what you say here. Do you associate Enter Sandman with Mariano Rivera or Virginia Tech? I mean, be careful what you say here. I'm going to write this down in my notes.
Listen, there's nothing simpler about it. It was more celebrated. I don't remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but did they show up and play for the Yankees when Rivera ran on the field? See, they made a video for Blacksburg. I'm not sure
Which
they did.
was awesome against Clemson.
Awesome big thing, right?
That was awesome. See,
Right.
I like that answer. I like that
Right.
answer.
Right.
You're listening to On the Block. No Eric Strickland today. DP, he's hopping in with me. I'm Nate Brennan. You're listening to On the Block 937 The Ticket. 402-464-5685. Keep those texts coming. Starter Heyman text line. We'll also take some calls too. Honda of Lincoln Hotline. We love to hear from you guys.
Text line's on fire.
Text line is on fire.
They're on fire.
They love the tunnel walk, DP. I'm telling you.
No, they love the tunnel walk, but they
yeah.
all acknowledge, listen, outside of this circle, that's the Bulls. Like, there's no, you can go to China and play that, and they're gonna think, Michael Jordan.
No, you're right. No,
so
absolutely.
I get, and most of the texters are getting this thing.
Yeah.
So
And I think
get it.
we're all on the same page there. Hey, but when I hear that and it's game week, it's got me ready for game day in Ireland. I'll tell you that much. So we're gonna play some buy or sell.
Okay.
The first one will be real quick, and then the second one I think is where we're going to get a little bit more disagreement in. Buy or sell. Scott Frost is sliding down the rail before the game.
Yes.
Buying it.
Not before the game.
Well, but before they left.
Well,
Ireland.
here's
I thought it was fun.
My big issue is that now it's going to be a thing. Like, literally everybody's going to come to the stadium, and how many people are going to fall off backwards? How many people are going to do it after they've tailgated a little too much, right? And they're going to go sliding down there, and somebody's going to crash head to cement.
Right.
Like, no, serious business. That's literally what I thought. Was I love that he did it. It kind of sucks that somebody videotaped it and caught it, but the fan base needed to see that from him.
I agree.
Right? To humanize him a little bit and to see him in some joy.
A little less stress.
Well, to see him enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm like the grown-up. I was like, man, how many drunk Huskers are going to mess that up? Right? Like, the story's coming. You can write it and just pin it, and it's coming.
Right.
So, but I also think that every coach should do that.
Yeah,
like, do a thing that you do. Do a thing that you do.
Have some fun.
Yeah.
I like to see it because I know Scott Frost is.
It made me feel good for him.
Yes.
It made me
because
feel good for
we
him.
can tell he's been a little bit more stressed the past couple of years. Like, you can tell it's wearing on him a little bit. And it looks like, you know what? Like, he's having some fun.
I want that fun for him.
Yeah,
Whatever,
absolutely.
like, to find out what is fun for him.
Right.
Because I'm not sure we knew.
Exactly. Right. No, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
This is the one where I think we might disagree a little bit, and I think the text line might have their own opinions. Buy or sell. This time next season, Scott Frost is the head coach at Nebraska.
Why would we disagree on it? Because we don't know. There's no
you
fact
had to
to
say,
it.
but you had to say one of the. You're going to buy or sell if you had to.
I am going to buy that he's here.
Okay.
I'm going to buy that he's here. I believe that there are enough changes in the space that would lead for some of the small things that got out of the way not to become big things.
Okay.
So I think having Whipple, Applewhite, Joseph, Raiola, etc., is enough to get over the hump of some of the nonsense that went on last year.
I agree.
I believe there's some acceptance for the things that went wrong last year, which there was denial a year ago.
Which was the frustrating part about
That
it, right?
part, right? That it was the denial that things were wrong. That's why we were so close. No, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
You know that's my go-to.
Stop it.
I know you hate it.
Like, I do. Like, my record is my record, bro. Like, I can't, that's why you're hired, not to get close. Like, come on.
You're right.
So I believe that he will be back because of the quality of people around him, allowing him to be greater for himself.
I'd agree. I think it's also a buy. Texter says buy. I think Trev is being ultra patient, and just a bowl game will be enough to keep him. Depending on how it looks, I don't think 6 wins in itself is enough depending on like if you're barely getting by North Dakota and you're getting smacked by Oklahoma, Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, I don't know if that's enough, right? Like, are we okay with that?
I don't know. See, that's again, my thing is record wins and losses versus optics, but the optics matter for people who make decisions.
Right.
Like the folks who will write the check that if he has to go, optics matter. It matters. So is there nonsense off the field or, player personality profiles, injuries, that sort of stuff, play calling in space, conflict, friction between coaches and players? But I'm going to buy that the people around him are good enough to say, does Whipple win you a game that you didn't win last year? Yes. Does Mickey Joseph win you a game that you didn't win last year? Yes. Does Applewhite in the running back room? Raiola,
yeah.
right? So does those four coaches alone, with the players that they have, does Casey Thompson win you a game that you did not win last year? Yes. That's 5 wins off the 9.
Yeah.
So buying that, yes, I'm going to buy that the people around it, that Scott Frost will be here next year.
I will also agree with that. The next one I got for you, Casey Thompson, you mentioned him earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He will start every game this season at quarterback.
I'm going to buy that because the style of play, taking some of the burden off the hits, right? That he is going to be a little bit more selective about taking off. He'll be a little bit more selective about just throwing the ball away. He'll be a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. He will still run, but I think he will. But I think it'll be purposeful. It'll be move the change runs, which Adrian did. But because of the way Casey throws the ball, that he's going to force some teams to go into man coverage next year, right? And he'll be able to step up, get the 4 yards, move the chains, and reload, get back in the huddle and do his thing. So I'm going to buy that.
Going off of that, then, me and Strick have talked about this quite a bit. What do you think the Casey Thompson leash looks like? Do you think this coaching staff, say he plays decent first 3 games, they start 3-0. Oklahoma, he struggles a little bit in the beginning. Do you think they make a move?
If there's a leash, I'm pissed.
Okay. I agree.
If there's a leash on that young man, I'm pissed. Don't do that to that young man. Don't do that to the most important player on your roster. Don't do it. Like, you put more pressure on him, you put more bright lights on him, you put all this stuff. No, don't do it.
They did all fall camp, too. They already did it.
No, like you did that. Stop it. Stop it. Look, you brought the guy in because you know what? He was big in big moments, and you understood that. You needed a guy who could sling the ball without having to move the chains with his feet all the time, right?
Yes.
And he's still going to make mistakes, but that's Whipple's job and Mickey Joseph's job to fix. Right. And you brought them in. You paid them really good money to do that. So
you did.
So
with proven success.
Yeah,
too.
No leash. Why would you? Your number one guy. What quarterback in the country of any worth at all has a leash? He's got 30 touchdowns and against 9 interceptions in Power 5 football. Stop it.
5 against Oklahoma. You play in week 4, right?
Stop it. Like the whole thing, right? He has no sooner fear. Right? He has no sooner fear, which is a big deal. It's a big deal. There's no leash. If a coach tells me he's starting a guy with a leash, I want to kick that coach right in the shins. Stop it. Let that dude be great. Like, that's what you want.
Give him a chance.
You want him to be great. Wait a minute. Is that to say that there's a leash on Mark Whipple that the first time his offense goes 3 and out, you pull him as a coordinator? Like, you don't work that way. Mickey Joseph, guess what? If the first 3 guys don't have 100-yard games in the first week, that you're going to pull the leash. That's nonsense. Like, stop it. Let them be great. Let them go play. If you make mistakes, we'll coach through it, right? There's certain mistakes we don't want you to make. There's certain rooms we say, listen, here's the thing that we simply cannot do. And then if you repetitively do it, the coaching has to take over. Stop putting it on the player and put it on the grown-ups. No leash for Casey Thompson.
Which I also think is he's proven himself too at the Big 12 level. He's proven himself against Oklahoma, which we'll see in week 4. That's the only concern that I have, that this quarterback competition or whatever you want to call it that happened in fall camp with Chubba Purdy, it worries me. which it frustrates me because I'm right in the same boat with you. You brought in a guy that has starting experience at the Power 5 level. So you're telling me you brought him in to sit him down in week 4? It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It makes zero sense. You made a collective decision amongst the brains in the room that Casey Thompson was what you needed. You went to the regents and you went to the boosters and you put together packages to bring that guy in. Right. So listen, and Doc says this. He says he's as old as Adrian Martinez, yet has played a quarter of the games that Adrian has. Well, I think that's part of Adrian's problem.
I agree.
See, that's part of Adrian's problem. That's not part of Casey's problem.
This is
and here's the other part. Casey's got more experience than all the other quarterbacks in the room combined. Stop repeating what other people tell you. Think a little bit, man. This thing, come on. Let this dude be great. Stop looking at the nonsense. Well, it's the Big 12 and there's no real defense. Nonsense. That's Power 5 football, and they get a bid just like the Big 10 does. Right? They do it every year. And quite frankly, they're doing better than most of the Big 10 in those spaces. So what I would say that he's the most experienced quarterback in the room. He's a legacy. He's a kid who grew up in the game. His dad was a Power 5 quarterback. Again, another thing can't be said with anybody else in the room. And let that dude be great. Put him out there.
He's shown leadership skills already too.
And here's the thing. It's your job to coach up with the stuff that he doesn't do well. Right? He's reliant on this offensive line, Rayola and company. He's reliant on Mickey Joseph and the receivers. He's reliant upon the tight end room, back to what Becton puts in place. Who's the number 2 tight end, all that stuff. It's not just him, but he can sling the football and he can make good decisions. That's all. Look, everything else, go get it done. Go get it done, man.
You know, the funniest part about that is that's literally what Husker fans asked for last season of Adrian, and I would say that's Casey's strengths.
You got it. It's
those are strengths.
Look, there's going to be 3 times this year where Casey makes a throw high late that is going to drive fans crazy. That's in his tape study, right? That he will just, quite frankly, there's just a time, and I don't know if it's out of fatigue or out of arrogance. And it's the good kind of athletic arrogance where he thinks he can make every throw. But that's every quarterback that we really love is the guy who simply makes a throw and you go, well, I wouldn't have made that throw and I couldn't have made that throw.
The Heisman favorite, C.J. Stroud,
seems to be that guy. 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's a lot of throws under fire. He is the best option in this space. Give him support until he shows that he can't do it. But the reality is you don't know anybody else can do it behind him. Ain't either. Like, you don't have any dudes who threw 5 touchdowns in a game.
They have combined, 2 starts between Smothers and Perry?
Right? Comfortable.
And the only thing that we have to compare Adrian and Casey for what it's worth is the game against Oklahoma. Did Casey throw 5 touchdowns against Oklahoma for 400 yards?
And you asked the question, did Casey have better receivers than Adrian did? And that answer is yes. Did he have a better line? Did he have a better running game to pull pressure off of him and take the lid off? But there is a way. What that shows is that there's a way to do that against Oklahoma, and you have a guy under center who can do that against Oklahoma. So give him credit for that. I think from a health standpoint, I would love the idea that he plays every game. He starts every game. That means that things have gone extraordinarily well, and everybody will be happy.
All right. I think we're both going to buy that one too. So going off of Casey, obviously a lot of it's depending on Mickey Joseph and that receiving group. So my next buy or sell question for you: Nebraska will have a 1,000+ yard receiver.
No.
So you're selling.
So not because they aren't good, but because we don't know who they are and how they're going to be used.
Okay.
I think it's more important for Nebraska to have a 1,000-yard rusher than it is a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm perfectly good with 4, 5, 700-yard receivers.
I agree.
Right? Where everybody's getting fed, everybody's getting moved around, everybody is a threat. All that's in space. So I would say sell.
If you were to have a 1,000-yard receiver, who would it be? If you had to choose one.
Man, that's tough. That's why I don't see it. If they were going to use Trey Palmer to uncap defenses, to take the top off, that means that Trey would have to catch and run for a ton. That means Trey would have to have 4 or 5 75-yard touchdown passes or more.
Maybe like a Samari Toure type of
Well,
deal, maybe?
but look at Trey's number, right? Like that.
He got close.
He got close,
He got close.
and there's that. Marcus might be the guy.
I was thinking the same.
Marcus might be the guy because they already have the relationship and being able. A big part of deep ball throwing is same thought and thinking between quarterback, receiver, and coordinator. That he can line up and see, oh, they're in the wrong coverage for this. Get me. And sometimes it's just him, the receiver, looking at the quarterback saying, throw me to the place they can't get to. I'll get to it. And then I'll do something with. Also, the running game will dictate whether they can pull some of these like Northwestern, cover 3. They'll stay capped behind that. Strictly to keep folks from going over the top. But then you can still beat them with a 15-yard throw under broken tackle. He beats one person to the and bangs his head on the goalpost. But that's different than you being able to do Tyreek Hill and that sort of deal. So I think I think a 1,000-yard runner is more important. I don't think there's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Do you think there's a 1,000-yard runner then? I think it's going to be too much of a running back by committee for that to happen. Is what I'm worried about.
But we don't know that whoever this mystical starter is on Saturday,
we still don't know.
Doesn't just take if Grant's the guy, we can see based on what he did last year, him putting up 1,000 yards. Like we can see it, because he did. Right. He did. Gabe Irvin in high school, we could see it. Yet in his moment, we could see it. But do they give him enough reps? Do they give him enough time? I'm not sure. Well, again, Ramir's gift is that he could be one of those 600-700-yard receivers out of the backfield. Right, that's kind of where that space is. He's not there.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, he's not there to be the 1,000-yard rusher. He's there to be 1,000 yards, 500 and 500, right? Through that. So, Webb Blanket, listen. We're just talking 4 or 5 700-yard receivers. What I'm saying by that is that there's more balance than exceptional. There's more balance for them to be the best version of this team. Will be that everybody's a threat.
I agree.
No matter where they're lined up, no matter who they're against. Now, if you do that consecutively over 12 games, guess what? The production, you're talking about 50, 60 yards a game for 3 or 4 players or 4 or 5 players, right? And that one of them could be out of the backfield. Vokalek has to be 700 yards. He just has to be. Now, do they get another one from Brewington and company? Or do you get it from Omar Manning? Like, would anybody be stunned if Manning averaged over 50 yards a game?
Not at all.
Couldn't be. You couldn't be. Trey Palmer? We wouldn't be surprised by it. Marcus, are we surprised? No. So, listen, the whole point of the offense is to spread that around. In a perfect world, that's what it looks like. Now, are you counting on it? Are you betting on it? No, but is that the ideal? Hell yeah.
Especially with Casey, too. I think that plays to his strengths if he does have more than one weapon. One more before we go to break and get on Brian Munson with On 3. I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm glad that I'm making it a buy or sell because you got to answer. Mm-hmm. Nebraska wins the West.
Sell.
Okay.
It falls in the same line of the receiving question. Is it possible? Absolutely. Could it happen? Yes. Am I betting on it? No, because it requires all of this stuff to happen perfectly in place. Casey plays all the games. You get a 1,000-yard rusher that is the focus rather than the only carry.
Which means your offensive line plays well.
Which means the line is playing well. Which means you push off. You allow some different things in place for receivers to have space behind it. Let's move some linebackers, and we'll know that Saturday. Because if you can move Pat Fitzgerald's linebackers to create space, tight end drags to pull linebackers in deep water, backs now get one tackle to beat, and that sort of stuff. But the line has to play. You don't win the West without the line being the surprise of the entire Big Ten conference.
Both lines. I would say the defensive line too.
Well, I mean,
because that's Big Ten West football, right?
Well,
played a line of scrimmage.
Let's say that the defensive line is not great, but it's good.
Okay.
Defenses offenses in the Big Ten still have limits in how they attack the back end. If the five big are good up front offensively, that allows running game, Casey Thompson, receivers, Vokalek the freedom to do what they do. The offensive line has to be better than the defensive line for this team to win the West. Are we willing to engage and bet that happens? Not yet. Not now. Ask me again Monday.
But that line's going to move there. That's the thing. And that's why it's funny. Thompson Lincoln says, too bad you didn't tell Saint Thick that, because Nick did put some money on Nebraska winning the West for what it's worth.
I'm not telling anybody else what to do.
Right?
You're like, oh, look, that is not my party. That is not my party. Just like you feel how you feel. I feel how I feel. We're both cool with how each other feel. Do your thing. I'm just giving you the logic because the microphone's on.
I think, too, though, what also goes into it is that Nebraska's schedule, Big Ten-wise, favors them being better in the West. I'll say that much. You get rid of Michigan State and Ohio State and plug in Indiana and Rutgers.
Yeah, but
I'll take that any day of the week.
We don't know who they are either.
Okay, but also we avoid Ohio State. I think we do. We know what Ohio State's going to bring to the table.
True.
And thank God we avoid them this year, because that team's going to win an
Well,
national championship.
no, don't say that, because if you win the West, you're going to have to face them anyway. Stop running from people. Stop running from people.
Because that's a good point. If you win the Big Ten West, you will see Ohio State.
We fighting or not? That's what I want to know.
You're right. You're right. To that point, you are right. We got to take a quick break. Brian Munson with On 3. He's going to join us next. We're going to get his thoughts as Nebraska heads over to Ireland. Again, guys, just 4 days away from Nebraska facing off against Northwestern. We're getting pumped. We're ready to go. Brian Munson, he joins us next on 3 Sports. You listen to On the Block, 937 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
My computer was a dinosaur, and our TV, well, let's just say it was definitely time for an upgrade. But finding a way wasn't so simple. And then I found it. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and was able to make those much-needed upgrades. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Stone, and joining me in just a moment is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. But before I bring Andy on, I need to tell you about something that really got my attention. Just the other day, I saw on television Andy announcing that in the last 50 years, they had sold and serviced close to 100,000 vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, actually, the number would be a lot higher if we add in how many repeat customers we have for service and that come back to buy cars from us over and over and over again.
Now, Andy, tell everybody about your special offer.
Well, as most people know, always trade for vehicles, but now we're offering for people to come in and sell us their cars. We're ready to bring it on in, whether it's a year old or a few years old, and we'll pay them cash that same day. It'll be hassle-free, and we'll do it the Honda of Lincoln way.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of buying cars, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachhoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Goodyears, and Brent Excavating.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, very happy Tuesday to all of you. We're just 4 days away from kickoff in Ireland against Northwestern. I'm Nate Brennan. He is Derek Pearson. You're listening to On the Block 93.7 The Ticket. We want to hear from you. 402-464-5685. That's the Starter Heyman text line. Honda of Lincoln hotline. Also, you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can catch every single show live streamed on all of those platforms. And if you head over to YouTube, go ahead and give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Our goal is 1,200, and maybe we'll be able to peer pressure AD into doing something that he doesn't want to do. So help us out with that. 1,200 is the number. Again, that's on YouTube. Give us a like or subscribe button. We're going to head to the Honda of Lincoln hotline where we're joined by Brian Munson with On3 Sports. So, Brian, I hear there's a pretty important game coming up this weekend. You've been following what's happening or no? Not so much.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit of a big deal, we'll say.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a big deal going on. Yeah, man. I mean, I think everybody's excited. I think Nebraska fans in general are in need of this. There's been so much buildup. I mean, we've had Puke Gate, we've had Scott Frost sliding down the railing, like stuff that's making the news, like what the news is. It just means we need to kick off the football and have a game. So I think finally Nebraska fans will get that resolution on Saturday.
Yeah, we sure are looking forward to it. Brian Munson, On3 Sports, joining us right now. Brian, the first thing I want to ask you, I know we've talked about it extensively, a little bit of maybe not controversy, but certainly a battle at the quarterback position. Casey Thompson officially named the starter. Did you see this coming, or do you feel more confident knowing that he was named the starter heading into Saturday?
I feel a little bit more confident knowing that Nebraska's coaching staff got a better view of a few more quarterbacks throughout fall camp, and that they had a chance to evaluate a little bit more thoroughly against a couple more of those guys. You know, getting Purdy back, getting Harbord back. Obviously, I think Masker was doing his thing out there. Was mentioned a few times, and obviously Smothers, you know, was wanting to go ahead and still was healthy from the spring and put his best foot forward. So I think when you take at least the room and you say, look, we didn't have injuries standing in the way of kind of getting a better view to evaluate anybody, that you at least then have a more complete, thorough understanding about what's going on, at least based on the current data set, to say we can make an evaluation to put a guy as the starter. So I think when you out of spring, not as confident, but you definitely wanted this situation to kind of shake out to where there was some good health and you got a chance to look at a few more guys.
Brian, I'm curious, what player is it? Who's the most important player that we're not talking about? Like we've done the basic, we run the Casey Thompson, Garrett Nelson, the captains, but who's the guy that is going to help this team win that we're not talking about?
Yeah, I've got one guy. I'm trying to think really quick if I want to say him right now or if I want to think about. I'm going to go. I'll just go with him. I think the guy that's kind of making or breaking the offensive line right now is Bryce Benhart. I think it's a great sign that Benhart has been kind of penciled into that right tackle spot, and that is an indicator, at least to me, that there's been a corner that's been turned, that there's some confidence there in him. Because if you don't have him at right tackle, now you're moving Turner out to right tackle, things really get kind of crazy there between the tackles. And I just don't feel like that Nebraska had the kind of depth to not have a guy like as talented as Benhart, not be on the field starting for the offensive line. So I really felt like the one person that probably did their best to, I think, alleviate some fears and get people at least drinking the Kool-Aid and a little bit better. Benhart is showing out, and he is going to be the starting tackle. So I think you should kind of put that stuff together. And I think obviously we know there's going to be some growing pains there, and I think it's going to happen on Teddy's side too. Everybody knows those guys are immensely talented, but it's like you're changing coaches. And Prohaska, when he got hurt, he kind of maybe had like 5 quarters, 6 quarters under his belt. So he's still a guy that's growing, inside the game itself. So it's gonna take some time and some reps to kind of get there to get them up to speed. So, but I think Benhart, at least for me, that played a very big role in basically giving you an idea what's going to happen, with that offense this fall, and if you're going to feel better about it, or if you're going to have to make some more changes because you can't figure Benhart into the starting rotation.
Brian Munson with On3 joining us. Brian, as someone that follows recruiting really closely and in this team as a whole, I hate saying a week 0 game is a must win, but when you look at the landscape of recruiting, when you look at Nebraska football moving forward, how important really is it for Nebraska to get it done this Saturday?
I completely agree with what you just said. I don't like the idea of having to put a label on here, but or put that kind of importance with the week 0 game. But this is a Big Ten conference game too, and you add that kind of value or that additional factor in with it all, and then you kind of then take a step back and you start to figure out then timing to Oklahoma, timing to the rest of your Big Ten schedule. There could be a lot of there's. If Nebraska were to lose on Saturday, there's probably a lot of fear that Nebraska then struggled with an identity, particularly probably on offense, to where you just can't go out there and outscore Northwestern. And if that's the case, that may be really difficult to kind of pull that confidence back together on that side of the football and get them ready for the next contest and even be then competitive against OU when they come to Lincoln. So I really agree that I think it's pretty much it needs to be. It's a higher importance of a week 0 game than what you typically have, and I'm bordering on it. It's a must win for Nebraska because the downside of losing this game, it can set in motion some really bad scenarios.
Brian, you hit the hot word for me, which is trying to figure out what the personality of this team is going to be, and quite frankly, I can't check a box on either side of the ball or on special teams to say I know what the personality, like I don't know what the best play in Nebraska's offensive playbook is. I don't know what play they're going to run the most. I don't know what defense they're going to scheme out as. I'll ask you that. What do you think the personality of this team is going to be in any of those facets?
Yeah, and it gets even a little bit more unclear when you start to think about Whipple's tendencies and how he kind of ran things at Pitt, and how Joseph has got a really talented room, but Applewhite's got a really talented room, and maybe where they feel like in the, in kind of the name of Big Ten and Nebraska traditional football, that they need to be able to establish the run. And if they don't have that run, that they really don't have that ability then to kind of challenge, anything in the passing game. So I do feel like the stable is very full in the running back room. I read some post today about somebody had said that, Nebraska won't run or won't give carries to 5 running backs. I think 5 running backs will see the ball on Saturday. I have no doubt about that. I think that that's going to happen. And I think if that does happen, it's a great sign for Nebraska, because I think that it's kind of putting back, the emphasis on controlling the game up front, owning the clock, keeping the other team's defense out there on the football field. And I think that Nebraska, when they kind of gone back to this quick strike, kind of thing, they put their defense in awful positions, because other teams, if they weren't scoring quick themselves, they could sustain drives. And Nebraska just didn't have typically that capability to kind of do that and then finish off with points. And I think that's where special teams kind of comes into the equation. That comes with not really having that great ability, in the red zone to always capitalize and get in the end zone or score points at all. So I think what it comes back to is I think Nebraska wants to be able to go out there and be physical, run the football. I think that they still want to take their shots downfield and let it fly a little bit. But then I think on the special team side, I think Nebraska just doesn't want to shoot themselves in the foot. They just want to play sound special teams football.
Brian Munson with On3 joining us right now. Brian, we're sitting here on Monday morning, Monday afternoon, and we're talking about a Nebraska win. For that to be the case, what are the keys to success, and what goes right for Nebraska for us to be sitting here on Monday talking about a big win there on Saturday?
Yeah, they got to limit mistakes, and that happens, it happens on all sides. But I think really what we've been talking about here so far today, guys, has been, the clock management, the time management, the turnovers, particularly on offense. But then you have like the plays that we have seen, cost Nebraska games last season, 3 or 4 games on special teams alone, that those blown plays that cost Nebraska the wins. So those are where I would typically start. And I think Nebraska then needs to find a way to kind of create some turnovers with the defensive side on the defensive side of the football. I think that the secondary is strong enough. They got some ball hawks back there, and I think that you got guys like Garrett Nelson and O'Shawn Mathis. They'll be able to dial up some pressure. Caleb Tanner up front, obviously. You got 2 really strong mics. I love that second level for Nebraska. So I think that you have to understand your identity also on defense, not try to get too far outside of it. I know that was a super senior kind of heavy, strong, team last year, and Nebraska's trying to find some big replacements for Steele and Doman and guys in the secondary. So I think that they've got some dudes. I think they got to understand capability and not try to go out there and be something that they're not. They have to force a turnover here and there.
Brian, we just played a game called Buy or Sell, and I'm going to ask you: you buying or selling that Monday we're happy with the special teams?
I'm buying that. I do feel like having a full-time coordinator, especially somebody like Bill Bush over there, that they're gonna be better off for it. It sounds like that's been one of the most difficult parts of practice, and Nebraska's clearly putting an emphasis there. I think that's like almost like the first 15 to 20 minutes of every practice of every day is special teams. And if Bush is getting a chance to get a crack at him, he's getting his pick of the personnel that are going to help him out, which is going to be huge as well. So. I think I'm buying that one, that special teams is a plus on Saturday for a win.
Brian, I have one last question for you. Predictions for Saturday. Give it to me.
I think the line, what was it, 12, 13?
13 and a half right now.
10 and a half?
13 and a half.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's sliding up actually. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm kind of in, I think Nebraska still covers. I'm in that 42 to 42-ish kind of range down to 25, maybe to 24. I think it's really doesn't matter. I think weather forecast. I don't know what's happening. I think it's overcast today. I don't know if it's rain setting on Saturday or not. That would be a big thing. If Nebraska actually goes up there and is successful setting up the run, that number could come down at least on the top end of the Nebraska score. But I still think the margin of victory is that Nebraska covers on Saturday. just maybe a little overscoring, may not hit the 40s if they're successful running the football, because I don't think Nebraska's going to take their foot off the gas and run the football.
Brian, we're having a little bit of connection issues with you, but real quick, if people want to get some more great content before the game, how can they do so?
Yeah, come on over to the Nebraska Sound on 3. We got Steve Simple and Robin Washington up there that are up there in Ireland right now. They're bringing some content directly from it, and also, we should have some possibly a great content piece on Thursday night. Cameron Linhart's going to be announcing his commitment between Nebraska, Penn State, and Michigan State. So be sure to hop on over there 5:30 on Thursday night.
Awesome, Brian. We appreciate you. Stay safe and go Big Red.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
All right, there he goes. Brian Munson with On 3. Again, like you mentioned, too, our very own Steve Sipple. He's going to be chiming in here, too. We're going to have him on the pregame show here on Saturday. He's going to be chiming in on early break as well on 3. They do great stuff over there, and they're getting you ready for game day. We also have an Eric Strickland sighting. We're going to catch up with him when we do our crossover. Old School is going to be up after this. Again, you're listening to On the Blocks. Eric Strickland, Husker Hall of Famer, he's going to jump in after this. We're going to get his thoughts for this upcoming Saturday, and we're going to find out what he's been up to. He's been all over Europe, and it sounds like that's going to be the case here for the next week. He will be in Dublin here on Saturday, but that'll come up next. Make sure you stick with us. Then we'll have the crossover with Old School. It comes up next. You're listening to On the Block, 93.7 The Ticket, TicketFM.com.
Jake Bachman here, and I want to tell you about something that I do that is helpful in the health industry. I'm talking about Solarion, where if you're eligible, you can earn up to $500 per day while helping develop new pharmaceutical products. I've worked with Solarion for many years and keep going back because I feel confident in the well-trained staff and well-researched studies that I participate in. Plus, if you have a busy schedule, they have weekend studies or overnight studies that shouldn't affect your normal work hours. I feel confident in knowing that I am helping advance potentially life-changing medical treatments in the health industry. This research could improve the life of others, and by participating, it helps me out too. If you're curious about how to earn up to $500 per day for participating in a research study at Solarion, check them out at helpresearch.com/new or call them at 866-213-2965. Once again, that's Solarion at 866-213-2965 or at helpresearch.com/new.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
Empire Fence and Netting in Waverly is now hiring for several positions. They're looking for a fence installer for both commercial and residential, for local projects, and ones that require travel. They also have openings for operators, dirt work, welding positions, and applicants with CDLs are very desirable. If you're looking for a locally operated business that provides excellent work for customers and great benefits and care for its employees, email info@empire-fence.com or give them a call at 402-682-7658. Empire Fence and Netting. You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate. Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are just 4 days away from kickoff, and this is the place to be to get all of your Husker coverage. I'm going to tell you guys now, if you're tuning into 93.7 The Ticket, you're probably going to get a lot of Husker content, but trust me, that's exactly what we want to be talking about heading into Ireland. This is On the Block, 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Nate Brennan. He is Derek Pearson, 402-464-5685. That's the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. As always, we want to hear from you guys. Also, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Chime in that way, too. You can catch live streams for the entire show. Also, we want to make sure that you guys know this show is brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. I'm telling you right now, hop on over to Mary Ellen's. Charles and his staff, they will hook you up. They hook us up with all of the best foods, ribs, brisket, catfish, all that good stuff. I promise you, we will not steer you wrong here on the block. That's not what we do. Mary Ellen's, go check it out, 27th in Pine Lake. And it sounds like, by the look of it, we have an Eric Strickland sighting. Eric Strickland, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, guys? Man, I sure was doing everything and trying to get there. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Is it good? Is it good?
Is it the echo? I know we had the echo, and then I ended up muting the site.
Hello?
How about now, Strick? Can we hear you?
We can see him.
He's talking.
We can see him.
We can see him. I don't know what's going on here.
Of course, here comes Mark.
Mark's the one that fixed all
crazy.
this. Mark, help us get Strick. We got to hear what Strick's got going on. We got the site muted.
He looks good, though. He looks good. It looks like he took
good.
some red on the road with him. He took some red shirt with him, you know.
All right, Strick, how about now? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Hey, there we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
No, everything's good. But here's I'm actually in Dubrovnik, Croatia right now. And we kind of had to do a lot of circling and getting around and then getting to the rental car, and there was just a little delays there. I sure wanted to be on the block today. DP, thanks for tapping in and stepping in. It's some unfortunate circumstance sometimes when you're doing some international travel. I have a story to tell. This is not the night. We don't have enough time for it. But one of the things I will say is there's a couple of stories. It's funny, some funny stories that come out of it. But I will say that as we've been talking on the block, Nate, if you just listen to what Brian Munson said, and if you're tuning into the block and you're a regular listener, that's everything I just said. And everything he said is what I just said a couple of nights ago, in that turnovers are going to be a key. Managing and running that football, minimizing mistakes. Special teams is going to be a significant issue, and basically having and making sure that the ball, we're winning the field position battle. And all of those things for these first three games are so important to making sure that Nebraska is able to pull it out, and also creating turnovers and winning that battle. Not losing the turnover battle as they've done in the past, but winning those turnover battles. And Brian Munson pretty much just said what I said. It's just I just said it from a different country.
Strick, I want to ask you this. We played buy or sell, and I'm not going to go through all the questions, but this was probably one of the most fascinating ones. I want to get your thoughts. The buy or sell question was, Nebraska will have a 1,000-yard receiver. Your thoughts?
I don't think so. I don't think that they will. I think being that the game plan is going to dictate as to possibly, who's it going to be. I think we're hoping that we can see something out of the running back room. My mind just drew a blank. Don't mind me. DP.
It's late, we're giving you
the running back that came from
Grant.
Anthony Grant. Okay, there you go. Thank you. I wanted to say Davis. But Anthony Grant, I think has capabilities of doing that. I just think that Ramir Johnson and Yant, I think that the game plan is going to dictate as to how that's going to go. So I would say no.
I fall in that line. I love the idea. I think it's more important for this team to have a 1,000-yard rusher than a 1,000-yard pass receiver. Just to take some of the burden off of Casey Thompson, and then it's an acknowledgement. It's a statement out loud that there is not only trust in the offensive line, but there's belief in the offensive line, and we haven't had enough discussion about the offensive line, player for player, position for position. So that's what I wanted to do with Jay today, is to ask him about this offensive line and how we think it'll be put together, and then what the responsibilities are, because linebackers know how to weaken offensive line. So Jay would be a great guy to kind of ask. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask Strick, are you going to be around for the top of the hour? Or maybe talk to Jay a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be here. I think it's important. I know Nate has talked about this. I think line play on both sides of that ball is going to be important as well as to the success. Hopefully that they will. I talked about it being like a tug of war. You want that flag in a tug of war to be favoring the pull of your side. And we're hoping that Nebraska is able to take care of that business and in them trenches that they're able to win that tug of war battle. I'm not talking about just barely, keeping it on your side. I'm talking about you want to have some Cam Jurgens type of action where guys are active, they're getting out, they're running downfield. I want to see that kind of pursuit on the defensive side. I don't want to see just kind of half A-ing it and running down a little bit, and maybe you get there and you're faking like you're running. I want to see pursuit. I want to see guys tracking guys down. If a guy has to make a cutback, that there's somebody hitting him from inside out. That's what I want to see. So I'm hoping that could be the case.
Strick, the last question I ask you before we head out and then throw it over to Old School. Have you had any weird food yet? We've been looking forward to it. Any octopus, any monkey brain? What are you eating over there?
Well, I will say it wasn't weird, but the fruit that we had today, it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you talk about fresh fruit. I had a fig for the first time, like an authentic, real fig. That was I thought it was a star fruit. I didn't know what it was. I had to ask. I was like, well, what is that? It looks delicious, but I just don't know. But no, I haven't had anything weird. I tried a little something today. It was called sukut, sochuk, and it's a kind of a spicy Turkish meat that I had this morning for breakfast, and it was actually pretty good. It reminded me of the great Mercado. DP took him from us. They took the Mercado, but we'll take Mary Ellen's. God dang it,
we'll take Mary Ellen's.
We'll do a great exchange on that. We'll take Mary Ellen's. Mary Ellen's is absolutely phenomenal. But it reminded me of their summer sausage there at the Mercado that they have. It's really spicy though, a little bit more spicy to it, but it does remind me of that when I cook it, not actually when I eat it raw.
Good stuff, Strick. I can't wait to hear about more of your stories here as we go through the week.
Man, there's some funny travel stories, bro. When I tell you, it's gonna be a funny one when I tell you this. This guy that I'm traveling with, my high school buddy Devin. Listen, let me tell you, it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny.
There you go, and you can only find that on the block, right? That's how we do it, right here on the block.
I can't wait to get to Dublin though. I can't wait to get to Dublin and get with Jake and the crew, and pop a couple of frosty ones, and hopefully a celebration for Nebraska and a good big win. Hopefully.
That's right. Strick's going to stick around. We're going to head into Old School. That will do it for On the Block. I am Nate Brennan. He is Eric Strickland. He is Derek Pearson. We appreciate all of you. We are still here, though. We got Old School next, right here. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
The dog days of summer are here.